Let's take a look at the new page template. This is just a chance to familiarize yourself with the features the new template has to offer and how you can use it to present content in different ways on your pages. Every page is broken down into multiple regions. These regions can be turned on or off as you need them. There's a featured content area. There's a spot for a promo image with caption. You have an option for a subheader. There's your main content area. And you also have an option for a side box for related links and things of that nature. Today we're going to look at each one of these and how to activate them. Every page is still going to have the copyright symbol at the bottom where you'll go to log in. And once you've logged in, you'll be taken to the OU Campus interface that you've come to know and love. And here you see a very similar layout in that I have my page preview, I have my directory tree, and now I have all of these different editable regions that I can click on to edit. As always, we still need to check out the page before we can do anything. Now, if I wanted to, I could click on any of these areas and go in and edit the text and add photos, just like we can now. So I've added text, I've boldfaced it, and I've linked it. Nothing there has changed. The big difference is going to be with turning these areas on and off. Each one of them can serve multiple purposes, but you may not need them for all situations. This featured area is really good for your introductory content. You can also add an image or video over here. This is when you want to highlight something right away on the page. Your subhead will be used to break up the content. So if you've got your featured area and then you're going to roll into your main content area, you could have a subhead here to divide it. And then obviously you have a side box on the right, which could be used for related links, could be used for some additional contact information or things of that nature. Each one of these is a field that can be turned on or off from the Properties button. So as long as you have the page checked out, you'll see Properties here. And we'll go over some of these other ones later, but under Feature Settings, you have the different options. You have Display Featured Content, which is this box here. Display Promo Image, which is an image field here, but it can also contain text or video. Under Page Settings, you have Display If Checked for your subhead, and that's your big subheading here. And you also have your display sidebar, which is your related links box. Notice the main content area cannot be turned off. That is always going to be there by default. So let's say we just want more of a plain page. I could come in here and I could turn off the featured content and the promo area and the subhead. And then if I hit save, so now my page just has the main content area for text, and I still have the side nav that I need for additional content or related links. Maybe I want to have more room for my main content, so I can uncheck Display Sidebar. And now all my content is going to stretch out across the full width of the page. I can go Featured Content, which would give me a little introductory area above my main content area. Again, it stretches all the way out, but if I decide I want to add an image to it, I would select Display Promo Image. And I have a placeholder here where I can go in and swap out an image. It's worth noting that these are sample pages that we're working on, so don't be alarmed if during the course of this exercise you notice that some of the pages you see don't look exactly like yours or the content doesn't seem quite right. We're still in the process of updating them. Also, it's worth noting that the information that you do see here, a lot of it is placeholder content. So just because you see this random button in this Learn More link, that doesn't mean that you have to have it in your featured content area. That's just letting you know that it's a feature that is available. So I can go back in, and under featured content, again, I can delete any of this text that I need. I can change the text in this call to action button. Or I could also change the link in this Learn More link if need be. And to give you an idea of how these could be used, here you have a page for the Jaguar production crew. It has the featured content area, which kind of serves as an introduction about the group. From there, you can immediately go to an upcoming events page, which will take you to their calendar, or a link that will take you to their board members. Below there, you have your main content area, which kind of gives you some quick background information and a list of related links that students may be interested in. If we wanted a cleaner version of a page, we could turn all those fields off and just keep the main content area like we did on graduations policies. And that's just going to give us one large block that we can go in and add text, tables, or images as we see fit. So the idea is from this one template, you can get multiple different looks. And all of these are ways to kind of help present your content in ways that are easier for your users to digest. It's not as much about making it pretty as it is about making it useful. You'll see that we also have a sub-headline field. This is good for if you need to break up the content between your featured area and your main area. It kind of gives you a bit of separation, and again, it lets you put your main content above the fold. And that's just another editable region. As I mentioned earlier, just because a field appears doesn't mean that you need to use it. So we don't need to link off to the side to anything. So I'm just going to delete that one and keep just the title field here. And then if we save. So now I have my featured content, my subheading that breaks things up, and then that flows into my main content. Your promo image is changed out the same way you would any other image on the site. I just have this placeholder in here. You don't want to go above 350 pixels wide, and 250 pixels is a good height, although it will scale up and down as need be if you adjust the height. And let's see if we have anything already uploaded that we can use. Let's go with the picture of the fountain. There. Here, so now I have an image, I've got my caption below it, and what's good about this area, you can have multiple images in it. I normally wouldn't recommend it. But say I had two images and they weren't very tall, so I wanted to give them kind of a stacked effect. And I'm just going to cheat and copy the caption and paste it below it. Whoops. This is what happens when you don't pay attention. So you have some different options for what you can do in these areas. I mentioned earlier that the Learn More and Call to Action buttons that appear at the bottom of the featured content area, those don't need to be there. They can be removed or they can be edited. And you'll do that the same way as editing any other content. If I wanted to make another link beneath Learn More, I would just hit the Enter key to get a new bullet. I'll select it and say that I want to make that text a link. I'll just have it link to any random place. Now here's where it's a little bit different. Those dots that are in front of there, that's part of a class that gives the browser instructions to add this little horizontal line in front of the link. So we'll need to tell it to use that class. If you don't see it already in the drop-down, you can add a new class on your own just by clicking on the Advanced tab and typing in the name of the class that you want to use. In this case, it's called Dots. So now I'm going to insert this link with that Dots class, and you'll see it's given me my slash, it's bolded, faced it, and it's changed the colors. And let's go ahead and save and preview. And so now I have this additional link, and if I add more, they will continue to stretch across and wrap. Usually you don't want to have any more than one or two, just as good practice. Let's say I didn't want any of these options at all. I can go into my edit mode. You can't just backspace on a button, so this is one of those times when you would need to go into the HTML view. And from here you can select part or all of that bulleted list that gives you those buttons and those links. So I can go in and hit cut. And that's going to remove those featured links at the bottom, and it'll give me more room for text or just free up that space in general. And now I'm going to put it back and talk about the call to action button. This button is just something, again, it's kind of eye-catching. If you have something that you want to drive people to, this is a good way to use it. You obviously don't want to overdo it. You wouldn't want to have 5 or 6 of these stretching across the bottom. That could get to be a bit too much. But for important content or something that you're trying to highlight, it's actually a good feature. So I'm going to take the current button out and add a new one just so you can see how it goes from start to scratch. Just so you know, if I wanted to, I could just edit this one as is, change out my text and my link to go wherever I needed it to go. And here you see the button text has been changed and it links to a new website. Let's say I needed to add one from scratch, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this one just so we can go through the process from the beginning. If I want to add a new button to a page that doesn't have one, like now, I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to hit the Enter key to create a new bulleted list item. Same as before, some text to link to. And again, we need to add a class to it, but since we don't have the class that we need listed in here, we can go in and add it manually. And in this case, it's going to be called button. And as you can see, it applied all the stylings automatically. So now if we save and preview, there's my button with a link to gru.edu. And we can go back and edit these. One thing that has not changed is the fact that nothing is live until you actually publish it. We've made quite a few changes to this tour page, but if you look at the one on the live site, it's still the same as when we originally started. So you still have that safety net of being able to go into OU Campus and make a bunch of changes, but not interrupting the user experience. So now that we're ready to publish, we'll go ahead and push this one out. Same as before, big green publish button. And when we go and refresh, there's my new information, photos, links, and everything. Your side nav, editing it will also be the same, except instead of side nav, it's now just called nav. And just like before, it is just a bulleted list of links that you can go in and edit. You can have that same HTML view. So there's no need to be alarmed. We've added some new features, but the core concepts all remain the same. We'll have training materials for specific topics in the coming weeks, but hopefully this quick preview will give you an idea of what to expect when we go live with the new site. For more information or additional training resources, please visit gru.edu/dcm/web.